Awesome. So today we're going to talk about how we can prepare students for AI outside of ChatGPT. So firstly, why am I here? I think I'm not a teacher, right? But what I am is a former international school student. I was a student at Renaissance College, Hong Kong. So that's me. I was not too long ago. That was me. I didn't know, kind of younger me didn't know that I would be growing up in a world that would be so influenced and so disrupted by AI. But here we are. I'm currently a software engineer at Google, so I work on AI products and AI solutions that some of you might be using right now. And also, I'm a learner of AI. I myself am an AI engineer. Just to talk about like this stuff in AI I've done in the past. So I'm from Hong Kong, and I built AI for various like government institutions in Hong Kong, from the MTR, which is a train system that serves 1.3 billion passengers a year. So you see the image on the top left and the bottom right. Those are some of the solutions that we actually deployed. One of them is a train collision prevention system. So knock on wood, no trains have collided thus far, and let's keep it that way. But you know, I've built lots of AI, and this is something I'm really passionate about. I've been building for 5 years now. So we're here today because we know AI is disrupting education. But I want to give some of the perspective that, you know, maybe students or someone who is coming out of school will be thinking about. Right? 66% of graduates worry AI will impact their careers. And something that has been touched upon many times throughout is someone who knows how to use AI will take the job. And so we maybe won't lose all the jobs, but students who are AI enabled, who have AI superpowers, will be able to take over the jobs of those who don't. We know also in fantastic universities like Cambridge, half of the university students are using AI for work. I myself went to Berkeley, and everyone uses AI there as well. So, and 70% of teachers say AI can help students learn. And this is a statistic more US focused. But teachers believe AI can learn, but they're not really sure how to go about it and what the guidance is. So this is kind of what I've been thinking about, and that's why I started an initiative to try to teach students and teachers how to use AI effectively and ethically, called AI Blocks. So we'll talk a little more about that. But just some context on AI. I think we've been talking a lot about ChatGPT and maybe even Midjourney and various other AI tools. But what is fundamentally AI? We have actually AI, if you want to break it down, there's 4 main parts to it. One is statistical AI methods. The second is computer vision. Third is reinforcement learning. And finally, ChatGPT actually just falls in the 4th bucket, generative AI. And so generative AI is something that has really captured the attention of everyone. But as you can see, it's only 25% of AI. And we already use all 75% of AI or all 100% of AI unwittingly. So let's get into the different types of AI first. So statistical AI methods. Right? The main goal of statistical AI methods is to extract patterns from data. And usually this data is very well structured. So some stuff like Amazon's recommendation algorithms determines what type of products to show you. That would be statistical AI. So not deep learning. I think a few presenters mentioned deep learning today. So it's non-deep learning methods. Google's ad engine, in fact, what ads to show you are powered by statistical AI methods. Finance models, projection models, and in education itself, a lot of adaptive learning tools that use a type of AI called knowledge tracing. It's actually a statistical AI method as well. So if you imagine you try to learn a language on Duolingo, it finds the mistakes that you had and then presents questions to you that are personalized to you based on your past mistakes. That would be an example of knowledge tracing, which is a type of statistical AI method. Another type is computer vision, and the one that I'm sure everyone has seen is Tesla's self-driving vehicles. But maybe what you might not have seen is what the car actually sees, right? It sees all these bounding boxes. It doesn't necessarily understand what the relationship of these boxes are to each other. But essentially, computer vision is something that helps computers see and understand the world. So some use cases there, Tesla self-driving, but also anytime you take a photo on your phone, the iPhone or the Pixel and Android phones, they have functionalities where they'll blur out the black background when you take a photo. So that background blur, or in right now, for example, I see some of you have Zoom videos where the background is blurred. So that is an example of computer vision, right? Because it's able to figure out who you are, where you are in the context of what it's seeing, and blur that out. But also cancer detection, radiology, essentially anything that requires imagery, computer vision can help. In fact, MIT studies have shown breast cancer detection using AI methods are significantly better compared to humans, 98% with 98% accuracy. And in fact, more accurate, talking about equity, is more accurate for people with darker skin complexions because let's say some doctors don't see dark skin complexion mammograms that often or breast scans that often, but then the AI has more training data that is able to increase its efficacy in that area. So not so great as well, mass surveillance. Reinforcement learning. This is something that allows computers to understand how to form a strategy. So actually, coincidentally, reinforcement learning is the AI technique that has made ChatGPT that good. If you remember GPT-3, or maybe before the AI hype in November of last year, OpenAI had actually released multiple generations of GPT, GPT-1, GPT-2, GPT-3, and all these GPTs have very similar functionality to the GPT we know now, GPT 3.5 and GPT-4, but reinforcement learning really made ChatGPT that much more effective. It allowed ChatGPT to, based on scores that humans gave its output, to then produce output that would maximize the human sort of attributed scores. So if a human thinks this expert-written essay is a 10 out of 10, then GPT also uses reinforcement learning to try to hit that 10 out of 10 mark. So anything that requires a score and a strategy is where reinforcement learning is effective. So game AIs like AlphaGo, I'm sure you've seen, I believe in 2017 was the first time a computer could defeat a human being in Go chess. Google's ad engine as well does use it. Finance, there's some stuff as well. So some of these have some overlap. So statistical AI methods and reinforcement learning. But you can see here actually this Mario AI is entirely done via reinforcement learning. So it tries to maximize the certain score. And finally, generative AI. This is something we know, we love, we've seen. ChatGPT and also Midjourney. But one thing that I want to talk about that's the next big thing in generative AI that maybe isn't as prevalent at the moment is this idea of multimodality. So, for example, Google's new AI model, Gemini, is called Gemini because it's got two aspects to it. It can understand both text and images, right? It's able to generate text from an image and generate text into image. So it really uses that understanding, right? When you think about let's say you're a student trying to draw a picture of an apple. When you're a human being thinking of an apple, you think both of the word, the concept, and the actual how that object looks like. And so AI at the moment can't really do that, right? ChatGPT lives in text, and there's some multimodality in the sense that it can call DALL-E to generate an image. But ultimately, that multimodality comes in when you understand the concept and the object itself. But so this is something that we ran through. We actually went to Renaissance College in Hong Kong, and this is a very sort of filtered down version of what we covered. We had about 20 hours where we taught actually a PE teacher turned learning coach and a group of 25 students on AI and how to not just what AI is, like some of the stuff we talked here, but actually go ahead and build their own AI, right? To be informed and ethical users of AI, we must also be informed and ethical creators of it. So AI is hard. How do we create it? Well, actually, there are tools and ways to go about learning about AI and creating AI really easy. So in computer vision, there's a fantastic tool that Google has built called Teachable Machine, where you can essentially collect your own training data and train a model. And we've built kind of curriculum around that, and we've also built our own more advanced tools on top of Teachable Machine that we can talk about.
Are you ready to revolutionize your professional learning? It's time to ignite your passion with EduMatch. Inspire, connect, and grow. Access over 150 professional learning facilitators and explore a wide range of educational topics. This is not just professional development, this is a movement. Discover how EduMatch can support your school or district. Connect with us today and make a world of difference for your students. To learn more, visit us online at edumatch.org.
But essentially, one thing we realized is that talking about AI as a topic is heady, it's challenging, right? When you go to, we're here because we're AI enthusiasts, we've read a lot about AI, but imagine we're going back to our schools, we're going back to our students, and we're saying, hey, it's very important that we learn about AI. Why is it important, right? We know, okay, GPT is disruptive, whatever. And what we've seen is that actually relating it to class topics and relating it to contextualized AI, context that students already understand, has been very effective. How do we do that? Right, one thing is, let's say in environmental science, we talk about the problem of increasing the amount of trash we put in landfills and an inability for current waste management systems to do recycling. Well, why can't we challenge our students to create their own AI models that can detect if something is recyclable or not recyclable? This is just for context. This is a model that a student has trained in less than an hour. So they collected their own training examples of like Coke cans and different like objects that they have around the classroom, and then they just went ahead and built it. So let's see. There you go. So something like that, right? Where students, this is something that a 14-year-old student has made themselves. And so now a 14-year-old student can now create their own AI, which is something that only used to be possible by being an AI engineer. And I know the pain, I've been there, the MTR models that you saw I made, that took way, way too long. And I've been programming since I was 9. So it's something that now is accessible. And you see, it's not perfect, but sub 1 hour, there's a student who doesn't know AI beforehand. Another thing, right? If we're talking about aging populations in geography or economics class, well, how can we use technology, instead of just talking about how we can use technology to alleviate some of the pressures of an aging population? Why don't we go ahead, also hit the learning objectives, but at the same time challenge students to create something where they can actually use technology themselves to try to alleviate the problem. So here we have a student train a fall detection model. Not perfect, it's wobbling around as you see, but when it's fallen, very strong classification on fallen. So essentially an AI model could then interpret this, send an alert to a human caretaker whenever it's detected someone's fallen over. And and also this is a great way to highlight the shortcomings and weaknesses of AI to students, right? You can see that the result isn't perfect. And you can also help students understand that fallen might look very similar to someone being asleep in bed, right? And so the limitations there is if every time, like let's say grandma goes to take a nap, you get an alert, that's also not an ideal sort of outcome. So how can we then create models that are ethical and also create models that can work around some of the limitations that AI has? Face detection. This is very more ethically contentious topic as well, but this is something that students can train themselves. And you can see it actually works through the mask as well. So it works pretty well for something that's less than an hour, has taken less than an hour. So that's the computer vision part. As for computer science, we've also built tools where students can train a Pac-Man model using computer vision and reinforcement learning. So they can just point something at a webcam. This is actually from Renaissance College. All the examples have been from Renaissance. We've been working very closely with them, and so this is a student raising objects to their webcam. Let's say you raise different objects, and they've trained a model that can move Pac-Man around using the different objects they present to the webcam. Now we're getting to some different examples. So we talked a lot about computer vision. How about generative AI? So I know a lot of the other presenters here are talking about how to bring ChatGPT effectively in the classroom. So I won't cover ChatGPT as much. I'll cover generative image AI. So, I'm sure you guys have seen Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, where you can take a prompt and turn it into an image. But that really sort of inhibits one thing. When you think about creating a piece of art, words might be one way of describing it, but you already have most people, most students that we've worked with already have a picture of what that artwork they want to create looks like in their heads. How can we enable that for our students? One thing that we've done is create something where students can, we can talk, and there's some open source tools that can do that. Setup is a bit challenging, so we have to build our own tool around that. But essentially, students can turn a doodle into an image. So really sort of we're really focused on like, how can we make students feel like they have superpowers with AI, not just like a consumer of AI, but something that really like enables them to do things they previously couldn't. Students are incredibly creative. They know how they want things to look like, but maybe they don't necessarily have the artistic ability to execute on it. This allows them to do that. Another thing, for example, relating to like a specific class scenario, we're thinking about arts, or we're talking about human geography. We challenge students to think about how cities of the future will look like, the future of habitation. I think students have also a very good idea of how future cities will look like, but to execute on it is challenging. Now the tool allows this input, as you see here, is just some lines. Obviously, students have created much more intricate sort of sketches of how they want future cities to look like. But combining this sketch with a prompt has enabled students to create images like these, where they can really express how they imagine future cities to look like. And so if we're thinking about AI disruption of it sounds like there's a lot of doom and gloom. AI disruption of jobs, students without access to AI will be replaced. I think there's something that needs to be focused on, is that how can we not just like tell students about AI, and also how can we unlock opportunities beyond just being a prompt engineer, right? How can we firstly show the impact of the work they do, right? This really helps students connect with AI. And not just, okay, you can write a fantastic essay with this, but really answering the so what question. What can AI do for me, my family, my society, my school? Another thing is that emphasize ways in which students can unlock AI superpowers. Going back to the example of the sketch, to the drawing, and the example of even recyclables. These are all things that a human being can do, but these are things that human beings don't necessarily want to do when you're thinking about sorting through huge amounts of trash versus recycling, or something that the student might find challenging, right? Create an intricate piece of art. How can we then enable to really reach their full creative potential using AI? So these are things that we've seen has worked very well at Renaissance when trying to teach students AI. And some of the results there as well, we worked with them over 6 months, and this is some of the results we got. So 90% of learners said they grasped AI's concepts and applications after about 20 hours of learning. 93.3% of learners feel confident in building and applying AI in the future. I think this is a big one, because building that confidence, turning someone from, let's say, an AI skeptic to someone who not just knows what AI is, but knows how to apply and where to apply it, is the big challenge in sort of upskilling both teachers and students. And finally, I think 90% of students had a lot of fun, which is very important for us personally, because really the retention and learning comes from making it enjoyable, making it fun. And for that, we have a little party popper. Anyway, so thank you so much for listening. And I'm super excited to be here, because everyone's so incredibly talented and so incredibly passionate about the future of education. And for me, I would love to help students harness the power of AI. So thank you so much. And I'm open to